Welcome back to Restore Thrive. We are talking about overhead athletes, and in particular, that overhead mobility and strength that every overhead athlete needs. So if you've been following along with us, we've talked about wall flexion, getting your hands on the wall, getting your hands, shoulders, and shoulder blades connected. Then we talked about the downward dog and how connecting your shoulders and your hands and your shoulder blades in that position is a great challenge, but also a great way to work on that overhead stability that you need. Remember, the idea here is that we spend a lot of time with our hand free and open in space. And what that does is it creates a lot of demand on the shoulder with not a lot of stability through the hand. Now, normally, if we're doing any sort of pressing or pulling, we have a connection. We can close the hand, which in effect does what we call close the circuit. It makes the whole system through your arm stable. But so often when our hand is open and free, we don't have great stability through the shoulder. So this is an opportunity, whether we're in the off season or whether we're trying to keep our arm healthy during the season, to connect all the dots here. So this is what we call a tabletop transition. And the whole idea here is changing shapes and being able to connect not only the shoulder girdle, but also the trunk, the hips, and the lower body. So here's how we're going to start this. We're going to get down on the floor here in a hands and knees position. Now you're going to start by getting into a bear crawl, which all that means is just lifting your knees off the ground. You want to think about pushing through your hands into the floor. And what I'm going to do from here is I'm going to take my right leg and I'm going to thread it through underneath my left arm and get my foot flat on the ground. So I'm thinking about pushing through my heel and pushing through my big toe. Now this position here sometimes is not going to feel great on your shoulder. So the next piece is we want to push through the floor to get that shoulder active, but also push through your hips. The last piece of this now, I have a free hand. I'm going to challenge this shoulder stability by reaching overhead, keeping my hips extended, and make sure I can hold this position for a good 2 or 3 count before I bring my arm back down and then start to bring my foot back through into my start position. Now stay with me. We're not going to put our knees back down. We're just going to transition to the other side. So I'm going to thread my left foot through, get my heel on the ground, get my big toe on the ground, push through that left shoulder, keep that shoulder active as I reach all the way overhead or as far as I can go with that right arm. And then I'm going to come back down and I'm going to repeat that anywhere from 2 to 4 times on each side. What you're going to notice with this is not an easy exercise. My heart rate's elevated after 1 rep on each side. So go slow with this, guys. Really focus on control through this whole range of motion. Don't fall in and out of these shapes. Take your time. If you can only do 2 reps on each side, start there. And again, I think a reasonable goal for everybody is about 4 reps on each side. If you can do that well for 1 set, add a 2nd set and then a 3rd set. And you can fold this into this plan that we're starting to develop for our overhead throwing athletes, working on that overhead position. Now we're working on being able to transition into different shapes, from the arm being out in front of the body to the arm being behind the body while still being stable. So give this one a try. Let us know what you think, guys. You can leave a comment below or find us at restorethrive.com, and we'll talk to you again soon.